There will be a cosmology blog below in the description that will show how high SCP scales, and even with how high they scale in these videos, I have arguments that get them even higher, and I generally doubt DC is anywhere close to the scaling of SCP. Uh, I I I can say I haven't had much experience scaling DC, but it's generally considered comparable to Marvel, and Marvel is only two meta-qualitative superiorities. SCP is at least infinite of them, and so generally the Scarlet King should stomp Superman. So the Scarlet King versus Superman fan battle, which is the last episode in the finale of season 1 of Fan Battle. It's garbage. It is genuinely poorly researched and not a very good video for the SCP side, and I'm gonna go over why. Okay, first off, the idea that there's no high tier multiversal Scarlet King showings. We literally see in Dust and Blood that the Scarlet King is an elder god, and elder gods, just by manifesting and just by showing their power, can destroy the worlds of Yosed, and Yosed has infinite universes, so I don't know why the Scarlet King would have no multiversal showings. There's the argument that the Patasphere is equal to the Overvoid. Uh, that's not a very good argument. They literally just say they represent the same things, therefore they scale the same. That's terrible. That's horrible. Just because death in one universe is and there's death in another universe, that doesn't mean they scale the same. Battle experience going to Clark is not very good either. The Scarlet King fought in a war for billions of years, and he's the embodiment of violence. Why would Superman have a better battle experience than the literal embodiment of violence? That makes no sense. Like, okay, the idea that Scarlet King is dumb. Now, I understand that this is acting like a little composite of sorts, but the fan battle also did a composite. And because of that, I will be compositing the Scarlet King as well, with his true form being above everything, which is what they said in the video. The Scarlet King knows everything about a timeline and has created the concept of division itself, which are both incredibly difficult and intelligence-having feats. The idea that the Scarlet King can be affected by time makes no sense. He's fought in the higher realms like the New Sphere. He exists. He literally retroactively affected reality, which means that even if he was wiped from time, it's not like he existed before and was white and rewrote history. He literally came out of non-existence and retroactively affected time. So Scarlet King could just come back. And even in 8008, Scarlet King exists as a higher manifestation of a being above time. So why would messing with time do anything like that? And also, time within the 8008 is narrative based, so there's more arguments, but I'll get to that later. The weaker variations said Crimson and Azure and 6140. Actually, 6140 is pretty embarrassing because in the story it's literally stated that the Scarlet King was made up. So why would that scale to the Scarlet King? That doesn't make sense. That it's ignoring context from the story. But even with all of that, and even with the idea that the true form would upscale everything, and these weaker variations don't matter, the Davite hit the Scarlet King with his magic has saved the Davites multiple times. He has a cult that has control over time, and his spears can control local causality and reverse narrative inertia. So why is there a time weakness? That makes no sense. uh, Van Battle also has an inability to read because they imply that the Scarlet King has no narrative resistance, even though we have seen in Project Dysopria that it has countered SCP-4755, which is literally a universal narrative, and it is directly stated to be the destroyer of the narrative as an aspect of the Anafabula. So, and is stated in a Q&A that it literally counters the Patasphere. Another bad thing that happened was that they state that this placeholder quote is not canon and it doesn't apply, even though in the very next episode of the series it's used to explain something in the episode. So an inability to read, I guess. Inability to read part two. Yeah, so you know how they stated SCP-8008 subverted the king? That doesn't make sense at all because he was used to defeat him, and nothing that does that 8008 can create has subsumed can be used against him. So that's just a straight up lie. The time pervert is stronger than Superman. You can see this in the cosmology block below. He scales to the patasphere. This is because it's canon to the multi-foundation cosmology, and therefore, and because of that, timelines are pataspheres, and they scale much higher than anything Superman has. So even if Scarlet King was subverted by Superman, that's not anything because Superman is weaker than the time pervert. Now, fan battle at difficult matchups. I genuinely believe that fan battle cannot handle difficult matchups because just by showing up this video, just by showing up Superman versus Scarlet King, they have no ability to understand cosmology, no ability to understand the complexities. They'll just do what Death Battle does and simplify the matchup and not put in the effort that is needed to give the matchup justice. The death battle community also is very incapable of handling outer reversal. Like 99% of them, if you ask them, they can't even comprehend or understand what the tier is, which is very concerning. This is also pretty shown in all of the blogs in SCP. The 096 versus Toru blog generally has no understanding of what Hume is. The current 682 versus Doomsday blog is very terrible and it was researched poorly. Both of those blogs show that the death battle community is just incapable of handling any kind of SCP matchup. Now, for some actually good SCP scalers, I'll link one of them below. Goosebumps Dude has done a lot of good scaling for SCP. He's one of my friends, and he works with us in Alt Battles Wiki, which is the generally only good place for SCP scaling, and should be, and anywhere else is generally not very good for it. I'm also going to shout out two other scalers called the Headless Glen and Autism God. They are good at scaling and they make very interesting videos. You should go see his Autism God Sonic.exe video and his whatever that bunny character is. And the Headless Glen has some interesting videos with some interesting speed scaling for Jeff the Killer characters, or I mean Slenderman characters. Also, Goosebumps Dude has other profiles like Doom, and I generally recommend that you read them because they are very good. I forgot to mention Yuri. He's very good at SCP scaling and intelligence scaling. I will link his profile below on Phantom. He also is he's a very good scaler. I will also shout out Devouring Abyss, as he is one of the admins on Alt Battles Wiki, has made generally good pages, and I think he's one of the best scalers of SCP. Uh, that's it.